I used to think quiet towns were safe places, you know. The kind where the loudest thing you'll hear in the morning is a lawnmower or a screen door slamming shut. That's what I believed about Birchwood, the little Midwestern town I'd moved to after my accident. A place where life moved slow enough for me to catch up again. That morning started like any other. Cold, crisp, and way too early for a Saturday. I rolled down my ramp, locked my wheelchair into the lift, and slid into the driver's seat of my modified SUV. I'd done it so many times that it felt automatic now. Muscle memory, even if half of my muscles haven't worked since 2019. My name is Caleb Porter. 41 years old. Former firefighter. Paraplegic. And, apparently, someone who still believed that if you followed the rules, the world would treat you fairly. Yeah. I was wrong about that. I'd gone to Harper's Grocery for one thing, coffee. Strong coffee. The kind that reminds you you're still alive, even if you don't always feel it. I parked in the disabled spot, placard in the window, ramp folded up behind me. It should have been simple. But simple doesn't trend on the internet. The squad car pulled in behind me just as I was reaching for my wallet. No lights, no siren, just that silent approach that makes your stomach knot before your brain catches up. The officer stepped out with the kind of authority people only use when they want everyone around them to know they're in charge. His name tag read J. Coburn. Tall, squared shoulders, jaw locked tight like a man who chewed on anger for breakfast. He rapped on my window. License and registration. Morning, officer, I said, keeping my voice calm. License is in the door pocket. Just need a second to turn, my legs don't exactly help me out. His expression didn't move an inch. Step out of the vehicle. I laughed. Thought maybe he was joking. Sir. I can't. I'm paralyzed from the waist down. He leaned in like he didn't believe me. Like I'd rehearsed paralysis to get out of a ticket. You refusing a lawful order? No. I'm explaining that I physically can't. Then he yanked the door open. Cold air hit my face, and so did the fear. Because I could see it now, the impatience, the irritation, the way he kept looking at me like I was a problem he needed to solve quickly. I set out, he barked. Officer, I said, hands up, I'm not resisting. I just can't move my legs. If you give me a second, I can show you the chair behind. He didn't let me finish. He reached in, grabbed me under the arm, and pulled. But my body doesn't cooperate. It doesn't brace. It doesn't help. It just folds. I slipped sideways, shoulder slamming into the steering wheel. Pain shot up my back so sharp it blurred my vision. Stop, stop. I shouted. My spine. But he wasn't listening. Some people hear a voice and wait for meaning. Others, like Officer Coburn, hear a voice and wait for a reason to ignore it. He dragged me out of the car like a duffel bag, my legs hitting the ground first, limp and useless. Then my back hit the pavement, hard enough that the impact rattled up through my teeth. That was the moment a teenager across the lot lifted his phone and hit record. A second officer arrived, Officer Riley, younger, eyes wide, unsure. She saw the wheelchair still strapped behind my seat, saw the hand controls, saw the way my legs weren't moving at all. Detective Coburn, she whispered, he can't stand, he's disabled. He shot her a look that shut her mouth instantly. Then he looked down at me. I said get up. I swear to God, something inside me cracked then. Not physically. Something deeper. Something that had been holding me together for the past 4 years. I whispered, I can't. He stepped back, like my paralysis was a personal inconvenience. Or worse, an insult. Lights flicked on. Phones lifted. A grocery store manager came running out yelling, he's paralyzed. What are you doing? Coburn finally stopped. But it was too late. Because the whole world had seen what he did. And the world doesn't forget that easily. I woke up in a hospital bed with a neck brace and a splitting headache. My sister, Lydia, sat beside me clutching my hand like she was afraid I'd roll away if she blinked. "They went viral," she whispered. "The videos. All of them." I blinked. "All?" She nodded. 3 angles. Store camera. Kid with a phone. A delivery driver got part of it too. I closed my eyes, a mix of dread and disbelief washing over me. I'd spent years rebuilding my life, working as a mobility mentor, teaching other wheelchair users how to adapt. I didn't want attention. Especially not attention that came with flashing red lights and hashtags. But the world wasn't asking for my permission. By the next morning, every local news station had my name. By noon, national outlets picked it up. By evening, reporters were parked outside my hospital window like vultures waiting for something to fall apart. The Birchwood Police Department issued a 1-paragraph statement. "We are aware of the incident. An internal investigation is underway." Translation: maybe if we say something vague, people will get bored. They didn't. Because while the department stayed silent, other voices didn't. One came from Officer Riley, the rookie who'd watched the whole thing fall apart. She sent an email, anonymous at first, to a disability rights group. The email leaked. Then a second voice joined in, a retired sergeant who claimed he'd filed complaints about Coburn years ago. Then a third. A fourth. A dozen. It wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern. But the biggest blow didn't come from inside the department. It came from Elias Cole, a data analyst who worked with traffic systems. He contacted my sister. "Your brother needs to see this," he said. It was traffic camera footage from a block away, far sharper than the store's cameras. It showed everything. Coburn pacing before approaching my car. Coburn unclipping his holster. Coburn reaching for me seconds before even asking for ID. And the audio? The audio caught the rookie saying, "Sir, he's not resisting, he can't move." Right before Coburn dragged me out anyway. That clip alone hit 20 million views in 36 hours. Protesters showed up outside the precinct. Reporters dug up Coburn's past. Attorneys began circling like sharks who smelled blood in the water. Through it all, I didn't feel powerful. I didn't feel brave. I felt tired. Tired of explaining that paralysis doesn't always come with a cast. Tired of defending my own body to people who didn't even know how spinal cords worked. Tired of being seen as something less than a person. Then the Department of Justice called. "We're opening a civil rights investigation," the agent told me. "We would like your cooperation." I nodded. Because it wasn't about me anymore. It was about every person who'd been told. "You don't look disabled. You're overreacting. You should have complied faster. Silence protects no one." And mine. Mine was done. The Birchwood Town Hall had never been full before. Not for elections, not for parades, not even for the 4th of July pancake breakfast. But the night of the hearing? You couldn't squeeze a paperclip through the crowd. Reporters lined the walls. Deputies stood stiff in their dress uniforms. My sister sat beside me gripping notes she probably wouldn't need. When they called Detective Coburn to testify, he walked in like a man marching toward a medal ceremony. Chin up. Shoulders back. Not a flicker of regret. "Detective," the panel chairman began, "your report claims the suspect refused to follow orders and was aggressive. Do you stand by this statement?" "I do," he said, firm. "And you maintain that you had no knowledge of his disability?" "I saw no proof of one." The room erupted in murmurs. The chairman slid a tablet across the desk. "Then explain why the traffic camera captured Officer Riley stating, 'He can't move, he's disabled,' 14 seconds before you pulled Mr. Porter from the car." Coburn blinked. Just once. But it was enough. The room fell silent. Then the chairman played the footage. Then the store camera footage. Then the bystanders' video. Anger boiled through the crowd like electricity. Even deputies shifted in their seats. Then they called me forward. I rolled to the microphone, cleared my throat, and felt every eye in the room land on me. "My name is Caleb Porter," I began quietly. "I served as a firefighter for 12 years. I was injured trying to pull a man out of a burning house." I paused, letting the next words sink in. "I've had to relearn everything. How to shower. How to drive. How to exist in a world built for standing people. But the hardest thing to relearn was how to trust." My voice trembled. Not from fear. From truth. That morning, I wasn't treated like a citizen. Or a disabled man. Or even a human being. I was treated like an inconvenience. A threat. Something to be controlled. I looked directly at Coburn. "You didn't ruin my life that day. You tried. But what you really did was expose a problem bigger than either of us." The room erupted again, but not in chaos. In applause. Journalists later said it was the moment everything cracked open. Within a week, Coburn was fired. Charged. Indicted. 2 supervisors resigned. A lieutenant was demoted. 3 old complaints were reopened. And Birchwood implemented Porter's protocol, a statewide policy requiring officers to verify disability claims before using force. Life didn't magically get easier after that. My back still hurts. My chair still squeaks on cold mornings. People still stare like paralysis is contagious. But something's different now. People listen. And sometimes, that's the start of everything. Before you go, let me ask you something, not as a narrator, not as a storyteller, but as someone who lived this. Do you think society is too quick to judge people based on what they think they see? Drop your thoughts below. Because your voice might be the next one that forces the world to change.